is the symbol of peace. Through his time of being a hero, he has established himself as the top hero, put a stop to All for One's reign of terror, and even has passed on his legacy to a new, young, inspiring hero. But what would the world look like in My Hero Academia if there was no All Might? Let's talk about this today. But before I get into it, I want to encourage you to subscribe, like this video, and keep up with me over on Twitter. There's a link down in the description. And with that being said, let's do this. So I think the first thing that we have to ask ourselves is, in this particular scenario, would the quirk One for All even exist? Because you could have a world where All Might's predecessors gave it to someone else instead of All Might. And you could have someone running around with this quirk but not have the same kind of drive as All Might had. Without that kind of drive, that person probably would not have had the same impact on the world that All Might did. Therefore, probably that person would not be the symbol of peace. They probably would be just another hero amongst the slew of others. But it's always possible that maybe this quirk just simply doesn't exist. There hasn't been several heroes passing it down from generation to generation. But you know what? Who knows? In this what-if scenario, it doesn't matter. The point is, All Might does not exist in this scenario. So if there was no All Might, there probably is no symbol of peace. But why was All Might that symbol of peace? Well, first off, it seemed like he had always aimed to have that title. But in order to have that title, he would have had to have proved himself. We learned during the fight with All for One that All Might had taken out dozens of All for One's comrades. I imagine that kind of thing caused people to give All Might just such a title. Well, I believe that if there was no All Might, All for One would still be around, and more importantly, his syndicate would be bigger than ever. Similarly to My Distant Future series, I could see All for One being in control of a lot of things. He might be behind corrupt public servants like the police or even government officials. Heck, maybe even some pro-heroes are on his payroll. So despite there being some heroes to stop crime, I believe that villains would be more rampant than ever before. Another thing is, Midoriya would have never gotten One for All. It was his encounter with All Might and trying to save Bakugo from the sludge villain that pushed All Might to give him his quirk. If Midoriya was never given the quirk, then he wouldn't have ever made it into UA High, and certainly would not have made his way to becoming the new symbol of peace that we know he will eventually get to. Maybe since there was no symbol of peace, Midoriya didn't grow up idolizing heroes. Think about that. What would the world look like if Midoriya had never idolized heroes? Maybe this version of Midoriya grew up idolizing the complete opposite. You know, villains. There are a lot of fan fictions out there about a villain Deku. Maybe that's what Midoriya would have turned into in this world without All Might. It's crazy to think you just take one element out of this world and it could radically change everything that we know about this show. You know, if there was no All Might, Endeavor would have become the #1 hero long ago. The problem is he still wouldn't have had the same kind of drive or fighting abilities that had made such an impact that All Might had done when it came to taking down All for One. I feel like Endeavor would wear this title proudly, but if it was compared to what we know that All Might has been, the title is quite meaningless. But of course, Endeavor would never know such a comparison since All Might has never existed in this parallel universe that we're talking about. In summary, if there was no All Might, there would be no symbol of peace. All for One's underworld of villains would be corrupt, and it would corrupt everything, and it would be running rampant. Midoriya would have never gotten the quirk One for All and would have not gotten into UA. And with not having the symbol of peace to look up to, he may have even become a villain himself. And finally, Endeavor would have been the #1 hero the whole time, but wouldn't have been able to make the same impact that All Might has. These are my thoughts, but let's keep this discussion going. Do you agree with what I'm saying, or do you have some different ideas? If you do, make sure you drop those in the comments below. Let's talk about this. Well, guys, I know this video was pretty short, but hey, I want to thank you for watching. Make sure that you subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss a video, and we will see you guys next time.